So we've got a list of who's here. There's no correspondence that I'm aware of. So we are to public comments. Please limit your comments to 5 minutes, please. Sir,
Only 5 minutes?
I'll give you a little leeway, maybe.
Yeah, no. I just wanted to follow up on a couple of things. I noticed, and I know you have a discussion later about the grant. And Tom had made a couple comments in there about going after some money for renovations and or a new facility in the future. I wanted to follow up on a request I had made a while back about getting the needs list, the must-have list for that, so that we can get that to the city engineer and public works director so they can engage an architect and get us some costs. This has gotten very urgent, in my opinion, because the council is meeting in a working session on June 4th to look at the next 5 to 10 years of capital priority projects. These are the big projects, buildings like the public safety building, a rec center, the bluff stabilization, and a whole bunch of other things. We met with the finance team a week ago, and if we did everything that's on the wish list, which this library stuff is nowhere on the wish list. So I can't even include that in the discussion in June at this point. So I guess I don't know where you stand with that subcommittee that was putting together requirements. I would encourage you to get some focus on that as soon as possible because there's a lot of stuff hitting us right now. And whether it's renovation or what we do from there, I'm not sure. And then I know that you're also going to talk about the capital plan, but think about not just the next 5 years, but the next 10 years, and think about that as well. I know Mark is asking for 25 through 29 at this point, but we'll be discussing that and a little bit more on the 4th of June. So just wanted to give you that awareness. And like I said, there is nothing in the long range for the library other than, this year we've got the HVAC and the security cameras. So nothing for next year or the years after. So thanks.
Okay. Thank you. And thank you for bringing that to our attention.
I would just like to add, I do have the document ready to show. I wanted to go through the committee first, but we haven't been able to meet. So I can send that out to you tomorrow. So you have at least a look of all the things required if we partner with a developer.
Okay.
I borrowed it from the contracts that Milwaukee Public Library sent out. So it's in a structure, and it's pretty easy to read.
Okay.
So I'll make sure I get that out tomorrow.
Okay. Any further public comment? Okay. All right, thank you. We'll move on to the minutes from the April 15th meeting. Has everyone had a chance to look over those?
Motion to approve?
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Invoices for April.
There's nothing surprising. I will point out that I brought up our telephone costs at a department head meeting, and I'm hoping that it will be worked on this sometime this year because we are still paying a lot for our telephones.
Who are you working with, Tom, over there?
Well, I know Susan is looking into it, and there's some other things that are going on. We're just a little different in that because we have our own network that it's separate from the city. That if we didn't have to be part of it, we could save a lot of money because we have our own broadband connection, and so we're paying double for those telephone lines. And to be honest with you, the telephone is not used as much I mean, we get the emails. I'd say we probably get more emails sometimes than we get telephone calls. But there's ways that we can save money. But other than that, there's no surprises.
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Revenue and expense report for April.
So 33% of the fiscal year has ended, and we're at 21%. So we're doing pretty good. Everything has kept in line. There hasn't been any really big surprises this year so far.
Is that fairly typical, Tom, to be a third of the way through the year, but only be at 21% of our budget for the year? Did things backload at the library?
No, it's I would say we've had some staffing, people taking a lot of staff time off, so we're not, that's where some of the savings is, because most of our workers are part-time. And so there are times when we do see that gap, but it usually fills up by the end of the year because we need extra people to work. Are there any other questions?
Move to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, on to the director's report.
So the building has been it's been going along pretty well. We still have the issue with a pond being set up, being created by all the rain by the exit door. And I know it's on the list to be mud jacked. And we've had a lot of rain in the last couple of months. So that just needs to be fixed. There still is an issue with HVAC regarding the meeting room. Sometimes it gets way too hot, but three different people are arguing about who's responsible to fix it. So hopefully it will be fixed soon. Luckily, we don't need the heat as much because we're going into summer, but hopefully that will get fixed soon. There is a plan to replant in front of the library. Plants have been ordered. They're delivered in the second or third week of June. And we ordered several plants from the county. They planted them for us. And then we'll need to spend a little more money, donation money for more flowers. As you can tell, the garlic mustard has really taken over the whole thing. So hopefully John can have a crew that can come and clean that out.
Which part of the building is that on? In the front or in,
Yeah,
the,
in the
new,
front.
in the new planting or,
Yeah, the
or
new
the
planting.
Okay. How did so much get in there?
Mother Nature. Garlic mustard's horrible.
I know, but isn't that all new dirt?
I guess so.
I guess it's really fertile.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then library usage statistics. Things are going pretty well. I mean, our programs have been heavily attended. More and more people are getting library cards. We've had some really great programs that have been well attended and with great partnerships. I'm just going to point out the program we had with the high school and their advanced Spanish speakers, students who came in and did their story times in Spanish. We had over 71 people show up, and we received a lot of positive feedback from the people who were attending. So we're just gearing up for summer reading, which will be kicking off in 2 weeks.
Okay. Excellent. So then on to new business.
So just a reminder, the library received a grant from DPI, Department of Instruction, to hire high school students who are interested in becoming professional librarians. And we actually received a grant, and they'll have 2 interns from the high school who they're each going to work about 100 hours each. And it's all paid for through the grant, as well as they're going to do, each have to do a program for kids, and they do get a budget to get supplies for their program.
Is it a one-time thing, or is it annual, Tom? Can we renew it, or how does that work?
Right now, it's just a one-time thing. I was surprised there wasn't that many libraries that applied for it. It's free help, and then the kids. The kids really get something out of it, and I've met them, and they're really excited, and it should be interesting to see how it goes.
So how did we find these 2?
Well, they'll be working most of the time in the children's room,
Okay.
helping with programming. There's a lot of programs for summer reading. We're going to give them different types of assignments. I'm going to talk to them about how privacy and confidentiality, and how it's very important that the library continues its role as an open space for everyone, as well as, defending our right to read, et cetera. It does sadden me that, in Alabama, they passed a law that librarians are responsible for what kids get, which pick out in the library, which I don't think will happen in Wisconsin, but who knows? But just talk to them about some of the issues that are going on. And, the library has changed. We're not just about books. And it'll be interesting to hear their take on what they think we could do to make the library more inclusive and more available to the general public. The millennials and Gen Z are really using public libraries. All the studies show that. All the surveys, they support the public library as an institution, which is really a great thing.
So when do they start? When do they end?
I believe they are starting the first week of June, and they'll be done sometime in August. And then hopefully they maybe want to be a volunteer.
From paid to unpaid.
And speaking of volunteers,
Yeah, good segue.
so before you is a final reviewed copy of the volunteer policy. The council will be looking at a volunteer policy from the city. Emily will be, I don't know if that's tomorrow or another meeting. But ours is very streamlined, and we do have a line in there that says we will follow city policy. And one of the big things is they really want us to do background checks on all our volunteers, especially anyone working with children. And so we will follow that, of course.
Did anyone from the city review this, Tom, or do they need to? Or this was drafted, I assume this is mostly copy paste from another library? Okay. So
No, I have not run it by the city attorney. But in the past, as long as we have put the line in there that we are following city policy, that I think is all we need.
Okay, yeah, I guess I was not aware. Yeah, it's not on tomorrow night's council agenda, so I hopefully we'll see it soon.
We got it at a department head meeting a couple weeks ago, and theirs is really long and thorough, and we wanted, and it needs to be, and because all the different other policies are in there that volunteers have to follow. So this is just a condensed version.
So no action, or are you looking for approval on this?
Well, I'm looking for approval, or if you'd like to wait a month, we can do that as well.
I think it looks good. Move for approval.
Can I just ask a question before we motion? I don't, Tom, and I'm just missing it, I'm sure, where does it say we'll just follow city, like that city policy supersedes?
Like right in the middle.
Oh, as well as follow City of Port Washington's policies, including background check. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any questions?
No, so we have a motion to approve. We need a second.
I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
I,
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? Okay, and then policy is approved.
So the next item is, I just wanted to share the calendar from the city regarding budget review process. So I just wanted to keep you up to date with the dates and times.
turn your mic on, Tom.
You should have a copy of the budget review process. So right now, at this time, we're not looking for any big increases for the budget next year. We may ask for just a 12 to 15 hour position to help serve middle school kids. That's one area that it's been hard for us to have enough staff time to do programming. We've been focusing on teens and the youngsters, 5 and under. And so, you know, it is a challenge for all libraries because so many kids these days, especially at that age, are involved in so many after-school activities. But we're still looking and thinking what's the best way to use that person.
You will be asking for that person in your budget this year?
Yes.
That's firm? Okay. Yep.
For 2025, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I guess just to echo the public comment that was made earlier, I guess I just would like us to see the capital plan as much as information as can be provided, right? Because it helps us make that decision
We're down the road.
down the road. Absolutely. Yeah.
Sure.
Gotcha.
I think we've gotten better as a city of getting 2 to 3 to 4 years ahead of ourselves, which we didn't have, I think, 8-10 years ago. We're smarter now, certainly, but I would like us to continue to look further out to 10 to 15 years, if at all possible, for some of these larger items.
Absolutely.
Actually, sorry, Tom, would you mind, can you share that with will you share that with the library board when you have that list put together?
Sure.
Okay, yeah, it would, I think, go a long way. When you have that 5-year plan or 10-year, or however far out you care to project, will the grant that we'll talk about next, will that inform some of those items and some of those decisions?
Yes.
Okay, very good.
Because I'll have a direct correlation with the future. And so I need direction from the board on which way to go. Because this is a once in a lifetime grant. This will not happen in my lifetime. And so I just like to talk about the Flexible Facilities Program Grant. And Rosalie, if you could. Okay, so it's really about reimagining, reinvesting, and then rediscovering in our public library. So this grant opportunity became available April, I believe, 29th. That's when the grant application was made available to the public. So this is as a direct support. This is a direct support of recovery from the COVID-19 public health emergency, and the goal is to improve our infrastructure to better participate in work, education, and healthcare monitoring that will last beyond the pandemic. So they really want us to invest in capital assets, and they believe that providing modern infrastructure is necessary to access some of these critical services. So the first $20 million will be directed to the highest scoring public libraries in the grant. And then the remaining amount of the $107 million will be going to either a public library, community center, or a multi-purpose community facility. One of the most important things is having that high-speed digital connectivity with devices that people can use. And they want these buildings open every day as much as possible. I mean, it's if you're an organization where you're only open you're not open on Wednesdays or Saturdays, you're going to have a hard time getting the grant. We already open. I mean, we used to be open on Sundays, which we're not anymore. But I think that's will just show that we are still open the most of, I think, a city department besides the police and fire. And so that does help us. So that technology part is critical, and we need to update our technology anyways. So this is a good way for get a lot of it paid for. I'm meeting with the network administrator at Monarch on Wednesday to look at costs and what's the latest and greatest that we can install. So we're looking at the renovation part, not the new building. So they've already changed some of the rules, and I have a feeling that will happen again. So if you notice, they want 100 Mbps download speeds. Well, all the libraries in the state of Wisconsin all get Teach lines. So all their connections through Teach, we don't have the opportunity to get this speed. So they are already changing this. So we are already getting the highest speed from BadgerLink. BadgerLink. And so maybe they will work on improving the speed access. But I have not heard if that is going to happen. So the spaces and the digital resources must directly enable work, education, and healthcare monitoring. Those are the three things the grant requires. If it's not in the grant how we're going to improve this, we will get a 0. They probably won't even, they'll probably just toss it aside. So we already do this, and we've been doing it for a long time. We just have the opportunity now of creating of renovating a facility where we can do this even better.
Okay. Tom, help me understand how we work with healthcare monitoring, or how we qualified that through that.
Well, one is having a meeting room that is totally connected so people can do appointments. So we have, high-speed connection. We have monitors where they can meet one-on-one with their doctors, that type of thing. We already, through Badger, through the different resources available through the state, people have access to all the different databases to learn about drugs, diseases. And so that's where that technology comes in, is that the technology part, the grant will cover, like we can get 25 different laptops and have a smart, each room could have a smart monitor where, it'd be really easy to connect that type of thing. So it's it just will help improve our service to the general public, because there are a larger percentage of people than you think who do not have internet access at home, they can't afford it. The cheap internet program ends at the end of this month, I believe. There was a program for people under the poverty level to get reduced internet connections, but that program is ending. And there hasn't been anything replacing. I do know the state is working on their own program, but I haven't heard what that will entail. But we're it in the community. Remember, there's no other place that has public internet access with help.
Yeah.
And so we still play that critical role and will continue to do so.
I wonder, Tom, related to the healthcare monitoring, is there any programming we could highlight?
Absolutely.
AODA kinds of things, partnerships with the police department?
Right. So, for example, we have a program for people with dementia. We have a program who are people who are dealing with death and bereavement. We've had many programs regarding Medicare and Medicaid and other healthy cooking and gardening. All so, yeah, we are already doing that. But this with the newer technology, we'll be able to enhance those different programs. So, there'll be a time where we could probably get more authors, maybe to join us. Oops. Oh, okay. Okay. So I just want to put it back on.
Just when you switched it back.
So I need to find out for sure that the rec center is not planning on applying for a renovation grant.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, one of the earlier slides, Tom, you had, it was $20 million just for libraries and then another 107 for libraries and everything else. So it's $137 million
No, it's really, take the 20, it's
out
not,
of the 107.
Got it. 87. Yeah. And I think the 20 is just for the top scoring entity, whether it's a library or a community center or whatever that may be.
Thank you.
so I just need to make sure because they will, both grants, if they're with two from the same city, they will be declined.
Do we also need to be considering the senior center then in that?
Yes.
Okay. Have you reached out to them to see if they're any of those representatives?
I reached out to Tyler and they were planning new construction, I guess. I'm not,
To apply for this grant, though?
yes. So new construction also requires some matching. We don't have to do any matching with the renovation.
So those would be considered separately then if they were applying for the new construction?
There's there's
two
the
tracks.
renovation and then a new building.
Build new, okay. So they're not going to see that as still two separate applications from the same community?
No, because it has to be made clear, because the application for a new building is a little bit different,
Okay.
because they need matching numbers. So,
Oh,
yeah.
from whether it be the city or somebody else that would
Yes.
be donating or giving money?
Yes.
This is Rosalia Slauson, Assistant Library Director, chiming in. So the one municipality can apply for two projects. One project could be the renovation and one project can be new construction. A single municipality cannot apply for two remodels or two new construction. So we would all, whatever departments apply would all be under the City of Port Washington applying as the municipality, and then we'd be departments below that municipality, if that clarifies it.
Okay. So we still don't know about the senior center, if they're
No.
going to apply for any of this?
I wanted to get through this with
Okay.
the board tonight and then just double check before we go any further.
No, I appreciate the clarification and because it wasn't clear. Thank you. Maybe just go back because we didn't really go through all the bullet points in there. I just want to kind of get a peek at, okay. So labs and public Wi-Fi that allow users to access job workshops, programming, job stuff, educational applications, and then telehealth and wellness appointments. Okay.
So it kind of sounds like we would need to construct some private rooms for people to do like telehealth type stuff for privacy. That seems like the biggest call out to me
Right.
that we aren't doing yet. Yeah.
We'll get there, Roma. So just another review of the different criteria.
Okay.
So the maximum award is $4,250,000. This is the no match, but we have to demonstrate the funding of the total project cost. And then you see there's category A, and then there's category B. So that's new construction and then renovation. So if we do get the award, we get an acceptance letter sometime late September or early October. We have to agree to certain things. There is required training, there's compliance, and then there are quarterly reports that will be due about how the money is being spent. And these are other different rules. You know, we got to follow rules set by the state legislature when it comes to construction, et cetera.
Is this something, does the grant itself need to be approved by the Common Council for you to submit it, Tom? In a number of places, we've done that as well in the past with other grants.
I've talked to other people, and the answer is no.
Okay, that's fine.
I think technically no, but it helps or wouldn't hurt your case to have it approved is what I gathered from the training webinar I listened to on it.
Yeah, sure. We authorize a number of grants that we would obviously support, so this would obviously fall in that category. So I would recommend that we do that, maybe first week of June, meeting in June perhaps.
And maybe just get a clear understanding of who might be applying for which part of this grant as well, so just to kind of make it very communication open. Yeah.
Sure. I have to follow fair labor practices. So we have to do quarterly reports and then documentation 10/31/26. So basically they're giving people 2 years getting libraries. And then we have to commit to a 5-year sustainability.
Okay.
For example, currently, Learning Express is a job-related resource that the state is no longer going to pay for at the end of June. It's to me, it's a great resource because it has so many job-related testing resources. So part of the grant would pay for that. And then we have to continue 4 years to pay for that. So we do get to include all the architectural engineering costs, grant administration and other professional services, and construction, they want it done by the end of September of 26.
So does this mean that we could reimburse ourselves for some of the past architectural costs that we've incurred? Incurred on or after March 15, 2021?
Yes, that does mean that.
However, our report from ERA was February
Figures.
2021. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Shoot.
But it never,
It's okay. Okay.
and that's just the rest of.
That makes sense. So they want to have open bids and competitive bids for all.
If
Construction.
that's what your community requires.
Okay.
So decisions. So I'm just going to talk about the different scenarios as I see them.
Okay.
So we do not apply for the grant and ask the city for 3 to 5 million to do a complete remodel of the building beginning in 25 or 26 or even later. We apply for the grant, and if we're successful, ask the city for additional money to fully renovate the library. Okay, so it's going to be hard to us to justify in the grant for new windows. I think I can get away with flooring and getting the bathrooms updated, especially the ones in the basement.
Yeah.
But if we have a really strong argument with those 3 pillars, as I call them, I think they will look at the other stuff and fund it. But I want us to, I mean, like I said, this is a once in a lifetime grant. There's never been a grant like this for libraries. So I want to have the best chance of getting it. So apply for a grant and if successful, use the money to upgrade the technology and upgrade the building as best we can, and then maybe look for a new building in 5 years. So I'm just going to show you some of the possibilities, and then I'm going to need your answer at the end. So one of the things we definitely need are study rooms and conference rooms. There's a big use of now pods. This is from KI out of Green Bay. And those are like they fit, they just fit in nice space. Another example of study rooms. So this is what what they should have built in 2002. But this is a traditional look right now. This type of the building and wall and all stuff, this will probably be the most expensive part. I mean, this will be more expensive.
If we were to go this route.
Yeah, if we decided to go that route. Because they will have to knock things down and rip things apart.
Build new infrastructure and walls and, yeah.
Just showing you different examples. So another big thing now is architectural walls that are movable. And this is something that would really help us where we can create a temporary computer lab. So we could have 10 computers all set up on a nice table, but then we want to teach a class, then we bring out the wall and close it all up. Sort of like you see now in restaurants where they open up the front, it's a garage door, and then you can have, but this is more, I've seen them work and it's pretty interesting. You know, they're not perfect, but this will definitely add to the value of the library.
Can I ask him about both on the architectural walls and the pods? What is sound like in those? Are we talking sound muffling, soundproof?
Well, that is a good question. My understanding, they have really improved the sound quality. One of the complaints have been about all glass conference rooms and offices is that they're not as soundproof, but they keep improving the technology, so they're more and more soundproof.
Yeah, I think just a consideration if we want to highlight availability for medical appointments and things like that, that we want to keep that in mind.
Sure.
Yeah, it's where those two pieces of glass come together, kind of there on the left. That's where sound just bleeds through. I mean, it's just a thin layer of like silicone or something that's there, and so that's the weak point in the wall for sound.
So we definitely want a smaller circ desk. So these are new PC tables, and this is where we'd wrap around, have a room for a lab. And so this is where we have the special collections for health. Okay, so they're pulled out of the general collection, and boom, they're right there. Health, as well as jobs, job information and books. So this right here is the Skokie Public Library, which really is probably one of the best public libraries in the United States. I mean, they're in Myers van der Rohe, I can never say the architect building, famous architect. They totally have redesigned the whole inside of their library. They are one of the first libraries in the country to have a digital lab where people can go out, have podcasts and record music and all that. So they have really, this is making the nonfiction collection more browsable. Okay, so it's not stuck in with the regular shelving. It provides that browsing ability. Now, Skokie is so much bigger than us, so the library is much bigger. But this is some of the attempts we want to do with this grant. And the grant will buy all the shelving, will pay for the lighting, and those other resources. So this is just another idea of dedicated collection space. So this is youth services, so like a gaming wall. Of course, these will all be educational games, but it just gives you an idea of what some libraries are doing. I'd really like us to go to front-facing shelving and youth services, especially for picture books. It does take up more space. I will tell you, the complaints I get are always from library staff, not the kids. And I get it, because it is harder to find materials, but kids love it because they can, and it's about them and youth services anyways. So there's another arrangement of front-facing. I mean, it's almost the same carpet that's in there now.
So you would envision renovations on both floors, is that right, Tom? So
Yes.
Since I haven't been a part of these conversations, so that would be, you would change up upstairs, downstairs, conference rooms downstairs as well, or what would you plan to do downstairs with some of the renovated space?
Well, they definitely need a new children's bathroom inside the children's room. We need, it would be very helpful is most of the shelving is on wheels. So we can push it apart for programming and other things. And that helps too with, let's say there is another COVID and we need people to we need to give space for the general public to recover. It'd be much easier if all that stuff could move and have that space for bedding or whatever. For the community room, that's a total, oops. Okay. Community room is a total remodel, new flooring, all new technology. I got a bid from the company who upgraded all the technology in this room about 2 years ago. I'm sure the costs have gone up, but so we would have a projector and everything's wireless and it's ready for having public programs. We're going to try to stick the remodeling of the kitchen because it is really in sad shape. And we're looking at, if we have the kitchen, it could be there in case of emergency. And also we could have programming on cooking and those type of things. So those are just some of the ideas. Like in children's room, changed the lighting, so it is more, it's helpful with kids who have sensitivities, who are on the spectrum. And we can make other adjustments as well. So that's what we're going to be looking to apply money for. So I did a quick add up a budget for a lot of these things to be done, and we're at like 1.5 million. But I don't have the costs of the furniture, shelving, and more importantly, all the technology. And I'll have some idea on Wednesday what those costs will be.
Grants due in July. When do they announce awards?
The grant is due by 2 p.m. on July 11th, no exceptions. And they should let us know by the end of September, beginning of October.
Tom, is this an all or nothing as far as what we ask for? Or do you think that, let's say we ask for 2.5 million, 3 million, would we get a portion of that?
My understanding, it's all or nothing. They're not doing partial
Okay.
Is there a
awarding.
maximum award amount?
The 4.2
It was 4.2.
million.
5, 204 million,
Oh, 4 and a
200.
quarter, okay.
Yeah.
So my guess is that once you get the price for the tech and the shelving and anything else that you don't have the price for, I'm guessing we're at 2.5 million is my,
Right. Because, for example, we need the doors replaced to meet for ADA because they're breaking down. So that will be covered. We are putting in the remodeling of the bathrooms on the lower level.
okay.
That's probably going to be about 50 grand each. And I'm not looking at, the greatest tile and all that stuff. This is very basic design. And so I will let you know that I've been talking to the director in Beaver Dam, who are going through the process right now of getting remodeled, just the inside, and see what they plan on doing. Because it was interesting, we visited the Lake Geneva Public Library, and because they did a remodel, and what cost for 1.5 million, it was shocking. They didn't really do that. I mean, they did some, but it was very limited. So the cost will really go up.
Yeah, I worry that 1.5 million, and we don't have the tech in there yet, so even 2.5 million, that feels low for everything that's on our wish list. So let's just be generous in as far as what we're requesting,
Sure.
to make sure that, because, hey, good news is we win the grant. Bad news is we can't do half the stuff we want to do with it,
Right.
with the money that we get. So I just want to be sure that we're building all the correct costs and all the as accurate as we can get pricing into what we're asking for.
So I will let you know, I did contact PRA who did our study, and, they do have all the different types of costs. So I sent him an email, I'm just waiting for his response, to say what percentage should I go up on those costs? And so hopefully I'll hear from him in the next few days, and get a more accurate account of those charges. But just keep in mind that no outside work will be done. The parking lot,
Exterior work, yeah.
all the exterior work. And so I'm hoping that's where the city would kick in if we got the grant.
Okay. So Tom, do we need to go back and discuss your 3 scenarios? Is that-
Yes.
Okay. Well,
Because here's the thing, we got the schedule at a department head meeting 2 weeks ago. And then I talked to Mark, and he goes, well, we want everything to cost by the end of this month, so by the 30th. And so I was surprised by the time frame, but I'm going to make it work the best I can. And, you know, Mark has been very helpful in this process. And so I want to get back to that choice page. Oh, decisions. So I personally think this would be a missed opportunity if we didn't apply for this money. And so I think we should. Now, what to do afterwards, that's where I need your input. Because what I would do is that when I give Mark our capital improvement request, I can say, well, in 27 or 28, we would like this money to finish
To
the outside.
renovate.
And, you know, there's like plumbing issues that need to be addressed and that type of thing. But a lot of that will be fixed through the grant because they were doing the bathrooms.
And would that be, I think in one of your grant slides, it said it covered architectural and design costs. Is that something we could build into like a projection for the city? So if we had someone come out and say, we're going to, with the grant, we would do X, Y, and Z things. If in 3 years you also need to replace the windows, here's what like a projected plan for
Yes.
that would be, that then we could use that
Yes.
to submit in
Yes.
5 years. Based on our public comment, I'm not particularly optimistic about option one that you have on the board there. But I think the further we can get ahead of some of those things, it sounds like the better.
I guess for me, Tom, I think it goes without saying we should eliminate option one. For the sake of argument, and I love how optimistic we all are this evening. If we apply for the grant and we are unsuccessful, I would like to see what these requests would be to the city regardless, plus or minus the grant. So I don't know if it's feasible to come up with 2 CIPs for the coming 5 years, because if there are needs, the renovation work is awesome, is needed. Are there other more critical things like the parking, the outside work that's more critical to sort of maintaining the infrastructure of the building, the HVAC, et cetera, that's not funded as part of the grant, but is also likewise necessary? So for me, it's almost as if we need 2 CIPs, knowing that we'll be coming into budget season without having an answer from the grant. And if we don't get the grant, there's things that we need to do with the bathrooms and the children's
Yes.
section. I know all these needs that would be covered with the grant, and if they're not, if the worst case scenario occurs, then I would love to see that bathroom still be renovated in 26, 27 through the city's capital improvement plan. So I don't know if it's feasible for you to come up with 2 plans for Mark by the end of the month, or even June if you want to stall him a little bit, right? Like into June, into July.
I don't think he's going to let me stall.
He doesn't let people stall. So
That's okay.
I guess what I'm asking is there 2 scenarios that you can come up with for the city that we can look at more, holistically about plus or minus the grant? This is the work that's important with or without the money.
And I think it's important. We started that work and we looked at the architectural study, but we also looked at the survey results from the most recent city survey to kind of prioritize not only from a library standpoint, but also what is the community looking for in our services. So I think we have a good start to that work.
So yes, I can come up with 2 CIP. That's I don't think it's really going to be that difficult. I just need, after meeting with Carl on Wednesday night and then the rep from KI, I'll have a much better understanding of some of the costs. And if I hear from Jason from PRA, I'll have more accurate accounts. And then I will share that with everyone as soon as I get it. Just a reminder, though, if you're going to respond individually. don't respond to the whole group. We just want to maintain, we're following open record laws and open meetings and all that good stuff.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I'm willing to do that.
I guess too, just because I'm the newest member here, like, have we, so for option 3, then, have there been conversation in the partnership? You know, we've talked about the JDR property. Like, I know all these sort of these background percolating stories, but has there been anything concrete or anything to point to around option 3 that would, you know, make it seem like a viable option?
Well, yes.
Not to put you on the spot, I apologize. If
No,
that's the case.
well, here's the thing. If you look at the city's new downtown plan, there is a concept that is included in there with the library, a new library, and above housing on the Onse property. I have talked to Bob over the last couple of years. He has, in passing, has talked to some people from Onse, and no one ever said, no, we're not interested, but they are focusing on the project in Saukville. Now, that new building comes in, and this is just hypothetical. You know, we all saw the news last week about this major development that may come in. Well, if it does, that's going to have a tremendous impact on our community. And so that's further down, of course, down the road. But you've asked to look at the next 10 years. I think 10 years from now, things will be different. I mean, it just.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think that we would be crazy to ask for a good deal of amount of money from the city right now for much of anything.
Absolutely.
With the current economic climate and things that are happening. And I wonder if even the 5 years in our option number 3 is a little optimistic.
Sure.
I think 7 to 5 might be more realistic. Just you know, having not thought about it for too long. I mean, 5 years would be great. It will be more than 5 million by then. But, you know, you said with this possible new development coming on the north side, who knows what that could mean for
Absolutely.
us, for sponsorship, naming, those kinds of things. You know, that's very being optimistic thinking as well, but certainly that would be maybe a possibility.
Yeah, so I guess if it's not too much trouble to put together 2 CIPs plus or minus the grant, be very helpful, I think, for all of us to kind of understand what the needs are, like, you know, with the interior work from the grant or the exterior work that we also know is needed. So that'd be really helpful, Tom, I think, for all of us to kind of look at it on the council. Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you. It'd be really helpful to see.
So, Tom, what is our next step? Do we as far as the grant, I mean, are you looking for approval from us
Yes.
as the board to apply for this?
Yes.
And okay. So I feel like we've kind of talked about it. If we need to have more discussion, we certainly can.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean, I think that we just need to vote on like option 1, 2, or 3, right? And then, I mean, I think we've all eliminated 1.
Right.
But, so option 2 with the 2 plans, like for the city council, and, you know, asking for everything, and then, you know, side note, if we get this grant, this is what we would ask for. So I think that's just like the addendum. So, I mean,
So,
so we're like motioning to approve number 2?
yeah.
Yeah, I think. I don't want to speak for everyone.
I think you're right.
Okay.
With the understanding that option 3 is certainly, you know,
Yeah.
on the table. I mean,
But like, I mean, 5 to 10 years is a long time for a community to sit with a library that could have been remodeled. That's how I kind of see it as we're talking about it. So I feel like, you know, we do what we can now and take this opportunity, like you said. So,
Yeah.
not planned for 10 more years.
The rules are not my area of strength. Do we need to vote on like what we're going to ask the city for in the next 7 years, or do we just need to vote on, are we going to apply for the grant or not?
I just want approval for the grant.
For the grant.
So moved. Let's get that
Second.
rolling.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So just for
Oh, this sounds like, okay, just real quick, all those in favor? Or do I need to, or would your clarification affect? Okay. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
I don't see anyone opposed. Okay, I'm sorry, Tom, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, no, that's okay. So just so I have clarification. So you want the list for, Pat wants, I'm sorry,
Jonathan,
I'm all confused now. I don't know why. Yeah. So I already have a list regarding if we worked with the developer. I already have that. I'll send that out tomorrow. And then I will come up with 2 CIPs and I'll run them by. And like I said, please respond to me individually. And if there's something I'm missing, this will just kind of lay the framework of what we're trying to do. And we'll go forward from there. And then we'll be spending the next month and a half working on the grant. I've been going to be working with Rosalia. I've received some information from department heads on what we should do. Some have some interesting ideas, for health free, have a bike where people can read and ride a bike at the same time, Grant, they love that stuff, interesting stuff. So we plan on definitely having a copy of the grant available at the June board meeting. And then if changes need to be made, we can have it ready. I'd like us to actually pick like July 9th as the target date. Yeah, that's my birthday. So I'll be a gift to myself. We got it all done. And then we'll just keep on going forward. Just so you know, I am going to put in a request, for the architectural work. And so that's roughly about 13,000.
Put it into the CIP, you mean, for next
Yes.
year? Okay.
Because we're going to need it regardless. We need a design that we can go off of. We don't have to use PRA. We can get samples from there's some really amazing library architects out there.
I can give you the name of 3
Right.
off the top of my head.
And they're good. They are really good. There was a designer that was on the Monarch Library Board 5 years ago, and she is a designer, and but she retired. So I've been trying to find her emails to see if she does any consulting work, because she lives in Oostburg. She's the one who's responsible for the design of the East Side branch in Milwaukee, as well as the Mitchell Street branch, where they turned an old department store into housing and a new library. And so I did get her advice one time, and all she said is, this building has a lot of opportunity. And then that's all she would tell me. So that's all I have. And I'll get working on the other material that you requested, and we'll go forward from there.
All right, thank you, Tom.
Sure, you're welcome.
Somebody else have anything for the board? Okay. All right. I get a motion to adjourn.
Motion?
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.